Welcome to Not Your Average Medium. Today, super excited in honor of upcoming Halloween. Happy Halloween, one of my favorite holidays. We have two guests on, super close buddies, friends of mine, and the topic is going to be spirit photography. And we're going to be looking at an experience that I had at the Walt Disney Estate in the Hollywood Hills. We're going to have Tara Emerson and a bestie of mine, Justine Nord, who is Tara's aunt, who is like a sister. She's going to be bringing color commentary and validity to both of our stories and situations. We're going to explore some photos that Tara has taken, and we're going to deep dive into the world of spirit photography. True, untrue, seen, unseen. Listen in. All right, so let's fasten our galactic seatbelt, everybody, and let's go. So welcome to Not Your Average Medium. Today I'm super excited, two friends of mine and fellow professionals and just super cool chicks, Tara Emerson of Tara Emerson Photography. Hi, welcome.
Hello.
And Justine Nord, one of my besties here in San Diego. Welcome, Justine. So Justine is an equine sports massage therapist and Reiki healer, and she works in the dressage and show jumper world with horses, the performance horse world. Justine is Tara's aunt, and she's here today to just kind of bring validity and color commentary and backstory to everything that Tara is going to be sharing with us today. So our episode today is about in honor of Halloween, my favorite holiday, just because I love to dress up. But Tara's going to be talking about capturing essences and spirits and auras and loved ones in her photos. So how else would you describe it? Is that how you would describe it, Tara?
Yes, that's how I would describe it. If you take a Google for spirit photography, you get some really crazy stuff.
Oh, never done that. Okay.
Yeah, it's different. And a lot of it is linked back into the 1800s and a lot of fake photography type things. So
that makes sense. I mean, I am a lover of the Victorian era. So how long have you been a photographer and what camera do you use? And everybody, folks, Tara is extraordinary. You have what, 4 children?
Yep, 4 children.
4 children. She's a mama extraordinaire. She's a farmer. Where's your farm? North Dakota?
I am in North Dakota. I'm on the Red River of the North. So we have land on one of the only 2 rivers in the world that flows north.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's kind of a cool place.
That's super cool. Yeah. And they've turned it into a great property. She does mermaid shots on the lake and everything. So and then she's been a professional photographer for 6 years and picked up her first professional camera about 14 years ago. So tell us first about your equipment. Is it any special equipment? Are you able to take these photos on all cameras, or is it, I know you have one special camera. Let's talk about your equipment a little bit.
Okay. So after I started shooting professionally, I upgraded my equipment. Photography equipment is really expensive, especially when you're first starting out and you need a lot of things. And so I bought my camera used on Facebook Marketplace. It's been a fantastic camera. It is a Canon 5D Mark III. Yeah, it's been a great camera. And just recently, like this summer, I had a frequency master take a look at some of the photos that I've taken with it. And he let me know that there's a spirit inside my camera.
That's right. So Justine and I were there for that because this is a teacher, a frequency teacher that we all have been working with. I've been working with him since last December, and it's been life-changing. Justine's been about a year, right?
Yeah.
And Tara, how long have you been working with him?
I think since April.
Okay. Yep. And we've all had major shifts. Yeah. So he's a futurist, but anyways, we'll talk about him later, but he's had multiple near-death experiences and he is able to see. He's one of the strongest seers I've ever come across. So yeah, tell us what he said about this camera.
He said that the person who owned the camera previously, his life's work was photography. Like that was his entire life. And instead of or when he passed away, he was able to transmute himself into the camera, so that he could continue. And
He just loved photography.
yeah, he was
I
obsessed,
totally got
obviously.
goosebumps.
Yeah.
He did not want to leave this planet and taking photos.
No, apparently not.
Okay, and so
And one thing that this frequency healer or this frequency master, I didn't, yeah. One thing that he told me, it was an offhanded comment, but I think it's so funny. He's like, "Oh, ghosts like you." So I think that's what attracted this camera to me. He also said that when I was a child, I went through a lot of traumatic events as a child, and I learned how to change dimensions. I learned how to be in different dimensions so that I didn't
that
have
makes
to
sense. Yep.
physically
You escape. Yeah,
experience,
exactly.
right,
Yep. So
experience
those
trauma.
of you are
So
listening, right? One sec, let me just add in commentary. Those listening, right? So sometimes when you're in traumatic experiences, you hear like you leave your body or you leave the situation, right? And so sometimes you're just leaving, like you can sometimes, you know, what futurists or what seers are being able to start to understand. And again, this is theory, this is like not a proven science, but that you're able to, that you might be jumping dimensions, you're jumping into a different reality where you're also rendered. So this is kind of the concept of we're going around here. So whether you believe that or not, that's up in the air. But in any case, I think we all understand that when people have severe trauma, there's a moment of kind of blocking it out where you're jumping into someplace else. So, okay.
right. Yes, I did a lot of that as a child. And so that experience kind of created a pathway for this gentleman, I guess, to come into my life, because on a spirit level, we know what our abilities are and we're attracted to people who can experience those. So he has been teaching my subconscious how to make that jump within the camera.
How to make the jump as far as like attracting the loved ones of those you're photographing.
Well, you're not really.
Yeah, so tell us
When
about
you're taking it,
tell
when
us
you're
about the photos. So like what was the first photo that you noticed something in? And we'll be everyone on YouTube. When you go to YouTube, Sit with Kitty, you'll see these photos down in the comments. But so let's go to like what was the first photo that you noticed?
Oh, the first photo was, I think I had been taking pictures for a year or two. And the first one I really noticed was, it looked like a mist. And this photo isn't in the ones that I sent you to put on YouTube, but it was a weird mist. And one of the teachers that Justine and I had used, I sent it to her to ask her what she thought of it, because it wasn't in all of the pictures. It was in just one. And I took several pictures in the same exact spot, same exact people. And it only showed up in the one picture. And in the one picture, it's quite a long, it's a large mist, but you can see a woman's face in it.
Oh yeah, I remember that picture. Will you share that one so we can share it with the public?
Yeah, I'll have to find it again.
Okay, we'll have to find it. But so that teacher, what kind of was that teacher, the medium and kind of okay, so the teacher was a medium, so she had the ability to kind of see, and she saw this essence in the photo.
Yes.
And that was the first time. And
that was the first time. And
what
that
did you think? Like, what did you think when she told you that?
Thought it was kind of cool. But she said it was her guardian angel. It was the mom's guardian angel.
The mother of the person in the photograph?
Nope.
Or her mother.
Sorry. So it was a picture. It was a family picture. The mom of the family.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so the mom of the family.
Yes.
Justine, do you remember that photo? Do you remember that?
I do remember that photo. Yeah. And I also wanted to add when the frequency master was talking to Tara that day about the camera, it wasn't so much like these spirits were attracted to the situation. It was more like the camera and Tara, it being coming through Tara subconsciously, that camera sees into another dimension. And so the veil is thin, and that's where those spirits are, they're just already there. Like this
Lifting
camera,
the
because of
veil of reality.
yeah, so that the camera with through that man, through Tara, is basically seeing what we can't see with our naked eye. So because he's in that world and he's attached to that camera.
Ooh, I just got more goosebumps.
Thank you for
Okay.
explaining it better. Yes.
There was a lot going on that day.
There's a
There's
lot
a lot going on. Yeah.
So how many times has this happened?
I
Roughly.
I can't count. Probably 10.
What's
Yeah.
so tell me about the horse photo. That one's super cool. What's going on
Can
in
I
the horse
circle
photo?
back to
Yes.
the camera? So after after I was told all this information, I came home and trying to play with it a little bit. And so I asked the camera what his name was. And I think his name is John.
Oh, isn't that your husband's name?
It is, isn't that funny? But
Is he
that's
playing
what
tricks on you?
I have no idea. That's what he
Tricks are for
said.
kids. Not humans.
No,
Okay, well, so have you had potentially any other conversations with John?
I have not.
Dude, I think he's like right behind you. I mean, I can't see anything necessarily, but like my spidey sense is like he decided to just kind of
I
there.
totally feel like he's there too.
He's like back by the door.
Yeah,
Anyway,
his name is
moving on.
John.
No
Yeah.
one's gonna see him. So you think his name is John, or that's the what you've gleaned. And what is there a science behind capturing these types of things on film, or is like science not quite caught up yet?
Science hasn't quite caught up, and there's been so many faked pictures
Yeah.
that it's really, most people just don't believe that that's what it is.
So how do you tell? Yeah, I mean, because that was one of my questions. So we'll also I want to get your intake later on my little dance outside of the Walt Disney Estate last Halloween. Justine and I went to a ghost tour at the Walt Disney Estate and in the Hollywood Hills. And so we'll get your take later on that in honor of our Halloween episode.
Yes.
But what yeah, so tell me a little bit about that. Like how do you know? Because you do, I mean, just having watched you relay about the different images before, like it's very clear. And having had I have other friends that are professional photographers on a global scale. Like it's a science. Taking a photo is a science, and there's a lot about light, and photographers are smart.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you. Yes.
There's a lot to know and remember and have like dialed in.
Right.
At least old school photography. Now your iPhone does it all. But in any case, and then tell us too, I want to hear about like how you can also take these photos, not just with one camera, but with multiple cameras. So first let's talk about like the science.
Okay.
Or the light.
So there's a lot that goes into a picture. And when you see a picture, you have to really consider where all your light sources are, where the camera is located, because that makes a difference too. And if you Google, like there's a big list, certain phenomena that just naturally happen with cameras and light, like you'll get certain orbs,
Like flares and things like that, light
yeah.
beams and stuff
Yep,
like that.
yep. It's really important when you do take these pictures. It's really important to know where your light source is coming from and what type of camera you have, because what type of camera you have and the lens, the glass that it reflects through will change it as well.
Got it.
Yeah.
So then tell us, okay, so that makes sense, and that's exactly what I like wanted to kind of share with our listeners, because it they're gonna be like, whatever.
Yeah.
Skeptic.
Yep. And actually, this is the first time I've really talked about this publicly because where I live is a
Me
very
too.
conservative.
But yeah, but
Yeah,
and I appreciate your courageousness on coming and doing this, you know. And that's part of what this podcast is about, is that, like, you know, so many people have these experiences with other dimensions or outer realms or cosmic, you know, cosmic collective, and no one talks about it because it hasn't supposedly been safe. Or, you know, back
right,
in the day people were called witches, or, you know, it's
right.
like,
Well, and even
and
right now, I mean, you're kind of crazy if
yes, yeah, it's a
that's
little
what
out
you,
there. It's a
yeah.
little out there. Yeah, I've been dating, and I tell people on the first date doesn't always equal a second date,
No,
but that's okay.
it is what it is.
I'm a skeptic myself. I mean, every time, you know, every time someone you know, since kind of mentioning this launch, people are starting to reach out. People that I know, people that I've known for years, you know, with their own experiences. So I'm so excited for this journey because there's so much more out there than everybody lets on.
Right.
Like, so anyways, okay, back to our subject of the photos. So tell me about, let's talk about the horse photo.
Okay. Horse photo. That was taken with my iPhone. You know, one good thing about taking these, one thing you really need to know about taking spirit photos is you have to know the context. And like there, you have to know the story behind the photo, and you have to consider all your light sources. So this photo, this horse photo, we had just gotten a sleigh ride from these awesome horses, and I was going to take a picture. And while I was taking the picture, and I think this is how I transcend the dimensions. I'm not sure. I'm still learning and figuring it out. I was taking the photo and I was thanking the horses and blessing them at the same time. And I've had this confirmed by two separate people that the horse, what I was getting is the horse's aura and the
Trying to,
love between them all.
oh, I'm trying to pull up the horse right now
Yeah. Um,
while
and
you're talking.
I mean, and after I took this picture, I mean, I didn't look at it until much later. So I didn't even know that this happened. And I looked at it and I was like, what is going on here? This is so weird.
So here's our horse photo. So tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about this
And
again.
so it was in the evening. It
Hmm.
was, I mean, pictures are always darker than, you know, shooting light is always, so it was a little bit lighter than it actually was. But I did take this with a flash because it was darker and there were no street lights or there weren't any lights around us that could have created something like this.
And so what do we think that this is? So are we talking about this part right here, all this light and brightness,
Yep, that's the horse's aura.
and so it's aura. So this is like an aura photography.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, cool. And then let's pull up.
So this is in Walhalla, North Dakota. There's a lot of Native American ground out here. This is not the only picture like it. Like it was very persistent. And the sun is up on, I don't know if you can tell, but the sun is up on the left. The sun is coming from here. So it would make sense that I possibly get a sun flare on the bottom left,
Okay.
but not like this. Like that is very large.
And so when you
Sun
saw this,
flares and
yeah,
sun
so when,
flares are usually a perfect circle or a half circle or an arc of some type. And so this is not like that.
this is very misty, very
Right.
like, yeah,
Yep.
very like coming in, you know, she's very clear, and then it's very, so what do you think this is, or what was your,
So this picture has been viewed by um, several different mediums, and
what did they say?
they said it was her mom. So I had taken this picture And I went through all the pictures, when I got home, and I was like, what is going on? And
Because it was in a lot of pictures, this
in a
mist.
lot of pictures, and I was like, oh, I ruined the session. What is wrong?
Cute. They're all dressed up. It's a sunny
Yes,
day.
yes.
Oh no. Gonna have to give them their money back.
Yes, exactly. That's what was going through my head after going through them. And I sent them, and this picture was taken on October 2nd. And I sent her the pictures.
So what did the client say? Did you talk about this with the client?
I did. This was actually the first time I talked about it with the client.
Oh, okay.
I just kind of had this gut feeling that she needed to know. And I ended up apologizing to her that this happened. But I said, I showed it to someone, and I think there's something spiritual to this. Like, I don't know if it's your guardian angel. I don't know. At that time, I didn't know quite yet, but I knew it was something.
Hi, lady. This might sound kind of crazy, but I think there's something in your photo.
Yep. That's
No,
exactly
you mean felt like that?
sounded. Yep.
I mean, that's what I feel like still sometimes. I mean, it's taken me years to tune into, like, now I know. But for years, I remember that feeling. And I'm still, like I said at the beginning, I'm still amazed when I'm like, this is really happening. Am I really getting this message right now? Am I really seeing this person? Like, really not really a person, But
Right.
you start to, my experience has been anyways, and Justine experiences this sometimes in the equine world, right? But like, you start to have that, you start to hone in on, like, what is a message you're supposed to share, what you're not maybe supposed to share, and is it really happening? So you had the conversation with her.
So I did have a conversation with her, and she emailed me back, and she's like, I don't think you're crazy at all. 10 days after this photo was taken.
You put it in writing. That's brave.
Yeah. Yeah, it was emails. She said that 10 days after this picture was taken, her mom was found dead in her apartment.
10 days after?
10 days after.
Ooh, wow. I just got goosebumps.
Yeah.
10 days after.
10 days after. So her body was clearly, or her spirit was clearly preparing herself to pass away. And she passed away suddenly. It was a pulmonary embolism. But obviously, to me, that says our spirit knows when we're passing away. I mean, no
Yes.
matter what the circumstance,
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
That's super powerful. Okay, let's take a look at video from the Walt Disney estate from last Halloween. And in it, I'm dressed like the Mad Hatter, and so a little crazy, wild. But Justine and I went here again for a ghost tour last Halloween 2021, and I just was playfully doing a little dance out front. And then we asked you afterwards, because originally, I'll drop that photo, I felt like there were he had two daughters, two little girls. I felt like their presence, there was a lot of, well, we'll talk about this estate in just 1 second. Let's watch the video really quick and just tell us briefly. So there's like a little orb. I'm doing a little dance.
The little orb that's following you isn't really following any light, and it's not really following the camera until here. Like, this part makes sense. These two or three little dots, like that one doesn't line up with anything. And then once you hit here, those orbs are from the light.
Got it.
And
then back in this corner area, I'm going to share another photo, is where originally I felt like his two daughters were like watching this all playfulness kind of happen. And
Right.
Justine, like, tell me, Justine and I went on this tour together, and there was definitely stuff happening in this house. There were definitely, spirits, ghosts, whatever you want to call them, essences,
For sure.
yeah. And we both felt it. And then what happened in that last room? I had to leave early. What was happening? I know what you describe what you saw because I know what I felt, but what did you see, Justine?
Well, you were being physically affected by weaving because it was the energy in that room was so strong.
So strong.
And there was even a little girl in the room with her parents, and she wanted to leave as well. I remember
Oh, that's right. Because we
her
were like,
holding her mom's hand.
Yeah, we were like,
And
who brings like an 8-year-old to a ghost tour?
Totally. And the guide was telling a story. And, to be honest with you, I don't remember the story that was taking place there supposedly in that room, but the energy in that room, what we were feeling was really powerful. You could tell they were hanging out with us.
Yeah,
They
and
were
it
there.
definitely, I felt it all throughout the house, especially going up the stairs in that one kind of master bedroom.
Yes.
And then we were in that yellow room where they were like, oh, so much happens here, things outside the door, whatever. And I mean, nothing felt like evil or bad or anything.
No.
But then we went into that last room and I forget what it was about. It had all the photos on it or whatever. And I was standing in front of Justine and I was literally circling. She was like, you were circling so much. And I just felt dizzy. Everything was kind of hazy. I felt like I was just in a fog and I felt like I was going to fall over, is what it felt like. And then I remember just being like, I got to put my light bubble out. I got to kind of reroute. And Justine, remember you said like you were about to reach out and grab my shoulder and all of a sudden I just went like stick straight.
Yep.
Okay, I got to like take back control. And so, what we've been told, and again, I'm a layman in all of this, so I look forward to exploring this with everybody. But what we've been told is that, spirits are attracted to light and there are different people, people have different capabilities. We all have this capability to connect way more than we think. And that's when you quiet your mind and you quiet the noise and you go within and you find your own inner light and you find that own connection to your divinity and your soul and your essence. That's when we're able to start, connecting outward as well. And maybe that's not a goal of yours or anybody's, and that's totally fine. But this is a capability that can be strengthened just like any muscle. Let's see. In closing, I'd say, yeah, I mean, what do you make of all of this, Tara? Like, what do you make of like how this relates to the lifetime of our soul and your life? And I really appreciate you both coming on and
Yeah, I agree with you that I think everybody has this ability to a certain degree. And I think it takes a lot of unpacking in order to get there, because I didn't even start experiencing these types of things until I started working with energy healers and working to uncover all the trauma. Because when you have all that trauma, like all your gifts are buried. I don't know. I think we're in a really amazing place in the world right now that we're able to share and connect with people about these gifts. And I think it's a safer place than it's ever been, a safer time in the world to be able to talk about what you're experiencing. So
yeah, the seen and the unseen. Totally agree. And it's interesting because having moved to San Diego about 7 years this spring, I definitely met a lot of metaphysical teachers here. And it wasn't something that I really was connected to myself. It was something that I was curious about. I was spiritually curious, metaphysically curious. And I'd had experiences at that point, but I hadn't really made the connection. And one of these teachers, he's an angel communicator, and he told me multiple times. And I mean, folks, just so you know, like you go to somebody for maybe a message or a reading or wisdom or knowledge, even your yoga teacher, right? I'm a yoga teacher. Like the teachers don't remember half the time what they said. Because it's like bing, you're getting the downloaded information, right? Just seen with your horses and your clients. And then it's like, you just send her message, receive her feedback, and then you're like on to go get your coffee.
Exactly.
And it could have been this profound moment for somebody. And I mean, I've been on the receiving end of this with a teacher, right? You just have this profound moment and they like never even remember again because it was just like putting their laundry in. So
it's true. Oh my gosh, that's such a good way to describe it.
And so it's like, I know as a teacher sometimes like, I'm so sorry. I don't really remember that, but it's possible. I'm so happy that happened. But yeah, but he mentioned to me that I have this past, that I have like all of this knowledge from the past, and that now it's safe. This is before I even had this idea to do this. And so I really want to commend both of you for coming on and for being my spiritual sisters in this.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. It was exciting to talk about it for the first time.
Deep dive. So in closing, there's one question I want to ask everybody that comes on the show. Justine, what do you do to keep your cup full?
Spending the time with the horses and going to the beach.
Oh yeah, the beach.
Like the fitness hand.
Tara, what do you do to keep your cup full?
I spend a lot of time in nature. Being on the farm is the perfect place to really center yourself and connect to nature.
Yep, connecting to nature, super important. That's when we're able to kind of, there's scientifically proven calming benefits to being in nature beyond everything else. So again, thank you ladies both so much. Have a wonderful day. Namaste. I hope you enjoy the ride. And if you do, remember to please subscribe to podcasts wherever you subscribe to them and share with a friend. Check out all the fun things and offers over on Instagram at Not Your Average Medium. You can download some stress and sleep management meditations there too. I promise everyone can meditate. And you can also book a time with me to connect and receive a channeled meditation where we listen to the whispers of your soul, past, present, and future.